Okay, I thought I'd shoot another little grounding advice video. By grounding, I mean earthing. Or, negative charging, connecting electrically to all that is. Let's just go with grounding. Because you also do ground in higher energies into your third dimensional thinking by actually creating the neuron and the neuronal connections and the dendritical evolutions, So the difference between grounding in the forest and at the beach, well, it appears to me that the beach is more like the opposite end of the forest. It's like the forest is like a DMT trip or something. I have some serious deep cosmic epiphanies in the forest. Now, at the beach, it seems to me more like a Puritan, like if you hallucinate, if you're fasting on crystals for a few weeks. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, they seem different in energy. The beach is very clearing, clean energy. But in the forest, it's very interesting what happens out there. I would say more Wu-G force. And the beach is more Shen, auric Shen heart energy. And it really opens your heart. But then, I don't know, I get a lot of vision, maybe because it's darker in the forest. There's less outer crude photonic electrical light. And there's more chance I can catch a whiff of my inner, higher, numinous, luminous, visual third eye light and get visions. And I don't know, I think that's a big factor. Certain processes switch in the body. You're not going to be using lutein as much in the forest. You're not using your eyes as much. It really does revert you under the canopy into a state of like sitting in a dark room so that you can see what's behind your eyelids and see your mind. Your third eye, your stream of consciousness. The little symbolic codes and visions coming to you personally, and connected to the pineal scintillations and the limbic, middle crystal room brain. But, I think the difference is something else I wanted to state, was that the complexity. I have seen sand of the beach magnified 250 times. And yes, there's complexity there because it's all small shells and different stuff. It's not just what it looks like, white sand. It's not actually, when you magnify it, it's actually a lot of little miniature shells and stuff. It's very interesting. And there are granules, yes, of just sand. But it's actually, there is some complexity there. But when we look in the forest, I think there's more. Because it's like this, yep, you're sitting on alkaloids, yep, you're sitting on carbon, phosphorus, nitrogen, all the obvious stuff. Soil, humus, all the obvious things. But, I don't know if anyone has mentioned this or anything, but, the minerals, I believe when I'm barefoot walking in the forest, and I don't mean I believe it, I feel it, I shouldn't have said the word believe, I didn't mean for it to sound like that, but I believe when I'm in the forest, it feels like to me that I feel the mineral energy, and I get an electrolyte top-up, as if I've just had a small drink of coconut water, for instance, which has really good electrolyte nature to it for a drink. And I think when I'm in the forest, I'm sitting down and I'm meditating, not on a rock. I'm talking about on soil, on, forest soil. You're under the canopy, just next to a tree in the dirt. And there's leaves, there's insects, there's billions of life forms there. There's so many different types of life forms there that I don't even know if you could research it, or you could be bothered to research it in one lifetime. I don't know how many of you are even halfway there, right? I'm not. There's bacteria. Look, think of all the layers, So there's bacteria all the way to, you know, the large macro grasshopper insect and so on. But then the minerals in the soil is what I want to talk about, that energy, because we're talking about the difference in the energy of, like, you know, meditating at the beach and meditating at the in the forest. And it's something I always need to say to people, like if you get a consultation from me or something, it's something I might mention to you. I'll talk to you about, you know, the in-depth stuff like this, like the difference between things, like a food, or grounding in the forest, difference between grounding in the beach. And this is something I want to say sometimes to people when I'm consulting them, because I always mention grounding, obviously, because, you know, once you understand grounding, you realize that it's like a base of health before water. It comes before water, and water comes before food as a base of health and functionality of the body. So these negative ions or anionization is very, very important, and I think it's why there is so much heart disease, because I notice how much better my heart feels after I ground. Now anyway, so the difference I think is like this complexity thing in the forest and the sand of the beach. I want to get back to that, stay on point of the video. You know, I think it's the complexity and the mineralization, and because that's what I don't get at the beach. I get a more ormus at the beach. You know, at the beach is that ormus. What is ormus state? It's like a fifth dimensional plasmonic mineral, pre-mineral state. I like when you can describe it, some people describe it like this, like it almost is like a semi-mineral state with a foot in a higher dimension that can like pop out, like popcorn, a certain mineral. And it can pop out a different mineral. It might be manganese and then it'll pop out iron. Now all that is, you know, the synthesization of the valence shells of the electrons changing, you know, molecules. It's not that, you know, woo-woo. There's real science behind it, you know. It's just not that difficult to confabulate all this in your own mind, how this all works. It's all very real. So yeah, this ormus state is at the beach, you know, that ormusy state, and that's why I was very healthy growing up when I was surfing all the time in the ocean water. If you read about ORMES, O-R-M-E as an acronym, ORMES, it's relative to ormus, okay? And yes, the Ormus Gold monoatomic drink also carries Ormus energy, but the Ormus energy is like the plasmonic field energy, you know, the cosmic plasma field, you know, that unified, where the field unifies, I guess you say, the unified field, where the field unifies. So, you know, the field is just down in scale towards the Planck length, somewhere near the Planck length. I don't know exactly, and I don't care to measure. But this is some key differences between, you know, the beach energy and the forest energy, and I really think that complexity in the forest is necessary after, and the mineral energy is necessary after you meditate at the beach. I do say the beach first. It's like this more clearing, and then you get down to business and do your thinking in the forest kind of thing, okay? So there's some differences, and I even at the end show you how to bring them together, okay? Enjoy, and think on it more, think of more differences. Very subtle differences in the two environments and how they relate to your meditation.